Alright, so this is going to be the BetaFPV Air65 4in1. It was released in early 2024. And this one is going to be also the BetaFPV Air65, but it's the 5in1 edition, which came out at the end of 2024. So in this video, yeah, we're just basically going to be comparing these two side by side so you can see what changed and decide if you wanted to upgrade or keep the one you already have. Alright, without further ado, let's get going. Alright, so first let's look at their design. So you can see that basically they have the exact same identical design and appearance, which there's no major change. The frame appears to be identical, and it's just basically the same frame. I don't see they are adding anything on this frame at least. So the camera also remains as also both CO3 cameras, so no change here as well. So regarding the canopy, you can see that the newer model has an additional cutoff section, which should fix the previous issue of the canopy pressing onto the UFO connector. Next, the antenna mount of the new model now has a little small rubber band like addition to the antenna, so it's less going to be dropping out from when you crash it or something. So I think this is a much thought through improvement. Alright, so next let's look at the flight controller, which is probably one of the biggest upgrades from the 4in1 to the 5in1. The main difference is that the newer model has the RX integrated into the flight controller board. As a result, the external chip is gone, but an additional extra corner has been added. I think this is a very good thing because fewer components on your flight controller board means less potential for vibrations, which should generate less noise and potentially increase the performance. So basically, it should fly a little bit better. Additionally, due to this change, the VTX plugs has now moved from the middle to the top. This isn't a major change, but it's worth just noting. As for the method of connecting to your computer to Betaflight for additional adjusting, we're also still getting the same JST to USB-C plug type of thing. So make sure you keep that cable and don't lose it. Alright, so the next major change is going to be on the motors. So the 5in1 now uses the 0702 SE motors 2nd generation. They still have the same kV rating at 27,000 kV, but according to BetaFPV, they should get an extra 12% performance increase, which we will be testing out in the flights later on. So I will try to tell you if I can actually feel that increase. Alright, so next we'll be looking at the weight for each of them. So this is going to be the 4in1 edition with the receiver, but without a cutoff. So you're going to get about 17 grams of weight. Okay, let's weigh the 5in1. Let's see, how much is it going to weigh? So also 17 grams. So I guess there's no major difference because you're cutting components but also adding components. So I guess there's not going to be a significant difference of both of these. All right, so that's going to be about it for the specs, at least the changes that are made on the paper. Now let's actually talk about the more important thing. Does the 5in1 flies better compared to the 4in1? Well, very hard to explain feelings, but let me just tell you my observations. All right, let's plug them in. Let's go give it a quick flight. So the footage you're seeing right now is coming from the 5in1 edition, so which is the newer one. I have been flying these two quads in the A and B sequence with about 10 packs each just to compare to see if I can notice any difference. So it's not a blind test, so obviously there's going to be some biasness in this thing, so I just want to make sure that this is communicated with you. But let me just share my observation to you so you can at least gauge if it's something you wanted to take as an advice. So the speed of the 5in1 does seem to be slightly faster compared to the 4in1. And the difference is not going to be significant, but it's definitely feelable. It's probably due to the increased torque coming from the 2nd generation motors. But as for the weight, since they're the same, kind of the same, so I don't think it's the weight is contributing any speed of it. So yeah, so it's definitely a little bit faster. If you fly it, you'll probably notice it. Next, let's talk about the handling. So the default tuning of the 5in1 does feel slightly more locked in, which is more obviously when you're trying to aim for gaps or when you are mixing the yaw and roll when you're turning. So it's easier to get the perfect angle as it just seems to be a little bit more easy to get the perfect angle to go into your gaps compared to the 4in1. That feels just a little bit stiff. Just I don't know why, but it just feels weird. But overall, I would say the tuning starting from the Air series has significantly improved compared to the 2020 Meteor 65 Pro, that sort of era. These are just way much better directly out of the box. So the previous one, you probably had to do something in order for them to fly good. So if you are a pilot that already knows how to fly and just want something with a bit more performance to practice indoor flights, then getting the Air65 5in1 could make sense. But if you're a complete beginner or you already own a 4in1 edition, then maybe I would say probably save your money. So for beginner standpoints, the Air65 is just not going to be durable enough and can break fairly quickly. You'll want to seek for something with a bit more tankiness, like I would say my favorite is the UB Drone Hummingbird version 3, or just wait for the 4 to release, or you can, get like a Mobula 7 or probably potentially a BetaFPV Meteor 65. So at least there's a little bit more canopy, a little bit of meat for you to like crash into. So that's for beginners, but for pilots that already own the 4in1 edition, I just don't see the slight performance increase will be that necessary to upgrade to the newer version, as you do have to spend another $100 for it. But if you damage your 4in1 edition, then yes, in that case, it will be very much worth it. If you still want to BetaFPV drones, then yeah, get the 5in1. Alright, so basically, that's going to be my thoughts about the Air65, the new one, and the older version. I hope this helped weed out some information that can help you better decide if you wanted to upgrade or not. And if you like what I'm doing, please like and subscribe. And if you think I missed anything in this video and you think that is important, please drop a comment down below so you can also help other fellow pilots. Alright, I'll see you in the next one. Happy flying.